Hello. Oops, I'm to my eye. Welcome to another weekly Inspired Chat. My name is Tatiana. I am the owner and CEO of the Inspired Blueprint, and I love to inspire you to get out of your own way, whether that is starting a business or just truly going for the things that your heart desires. I'm so happy you are here joining me for another weekly live. Today, we are talking about a really good topic, which is motherhood and entrepreneurship and how the two can work together, even if it feels like it might not be the case. So, as people start getting on, I am just very excited to talk about this, mainly because I'm so passionate about women, of course, in general, women getting out of their own way, doing things that God has called them to do. But even more so, I have a soft spot in my heart for moms because being a mom myself, I totally understand the just the numerous feelings that you have when it comes to, okay, like, how am I going to make this thing happen while also trying to take care of this human being and show up for them in the best way possible. And so that is why motherhood and entrepreneurship is a great topic for us to talk about today. Mother's Day is actually this weekend, and I really want to just encourage and pour into my moms specifically on this live because we need it. I think we all need encouragement, but for this particular one, I'm really going to be talking to my moms. Whether you are an expectant mom, if you are wanting to be a mom in the future, if you currently are a mom, maybe you're a brand new mom, maybe you're a seasoned mom, we all have different parts of the journey, but I think at some point we all face some of these different challenges and things I wanted to talk about. And so while I have a list of tips here on my phone, I'm going to always say that I do not have it all figured out from day to day. My daughter is constantly changing, and I'm always just trying to learn, how to best navigate the season that we are in, the day that we are in, down to sometimes the moment that we are in when it comes to trying to show up for myself and the things that I want to do, but also trying to be the most present and the best mom that I possibly can be. So let's get into this topic. First, I thought I would share just a bit about my overall just motherhood journey in general, because I think that it's always good to just kind of hear from other people a bit. So I'm a mom to one, and my daughter, she will actually be 6 in August. And I became a mom in 2018 was when I officially became a mom. And I knew that I always used to say this, like, even before I had children, I was always like, okay, I know that I want to continue on with all of these dreams and ideas and things that I have, even after I have kids. And I would always say that. But it's so easy to say things when you don't actually have any skin in the game, right? Like when you don't have the lived experience to be able to really see what it is like to juggle all of these different things. And so I just always had promised that to myself. And I think that because I made that promise to myself, and no matter what may be going on around me, whatever challenges I may be having in like the side of motherhood, I always make a promise to show up for myself in some way, shape, or form. My business being a big part of that, but even just things for myself as much as I can. From day to day, it's not perfect, but that is a promise that I made to myself. And so, the first tip I actually do want to give, though, is, and it's not even necessarily like an official tip, but if you are someone that wants to become a mom in the future, or if you are an expectant mom, I highly suggest that you try to get some support, especially within those first few weeks, months, if you can. I think that it is such a game changer. I personally was blessed enough to, when we had my daughter, my grandmother actually came and stayed with us for an entire month. I think my mom stayed with us for a little over a week. And it was really nice to have them there just because there's so many, like hormones and just like things raging out of control, and it's crazy. And to have them there for that time was just so special. And it's just a lot. You're learning not only this new role that you have, but you're trying to figure out this little person. They don't know how to talk. And, just all of these different things. So that is definitely a tip I would say. Even like a good friend of mine, she ended up doing a postpartum doula. So even if it's not necessarily like a family member of yours, it could even be someone that you hire, or, someone that you work with that is going to be able to support you just in those first parts of postpartum, because it's a very interesting time. postpartum is a very interesting time. And I kind of just dived right in, but I want to say hello to everyone that is getting on. I hope you are having a wonderful week so far. Definitely let me know where you're watching from. How are you? And I'm just chatting about motherhood and entrepreneurship and just different things like that. So feel free to add to the conversation and share. If you are watching the replay, hello as well. Definitely let me know your thoughts on this topic. I just want this to be just an open forum for us to just chat and talk about all things motherhood today. So, like I said, the support is definitely very important early on. But one thing for my to kind of go back to my story for a second is we lived at the time in New Mexico, and all of my family was over on the East Coast, y'all. Okay. So that means that nobody is coming to me without having to get on a flight. And typically it's two flights because there's always some kind of layover, no matter what. Okay. And so that meant that we were basically on our own in a lot of ways. And that's still kind of the case now. The only thing that is a little bit different is now I can at least drive to family, which is nice. A very huge change. And I'm so grateful for that. But I think that it is important to just recognize whatever situation you are in is just to give yourself grace in knowing that having kids, being a mom, trying to juggle all these different things, it is not for the weak, it is not an easy task to do. And for me, that has always been something where I feel like I could get hung up on that detail of like, we don't have family where we live. So I'm not able to drop my daughter off if I need to take care of something. She literally comes with me everywhere. And that has just kind of been the situation from the beginning. And so I'm saying that because I know sometimes moms, I work with a lot of moms. And that is one of the biggest things is people will say like they don't have the support or they don't have the time. And so my first real point that I want to just say here is that we all have time. We all have excuses and we all have time, right? Now, if you are a brand new mom, I feel like the first 3 to 6 months, I'm really not speaking to anyone like that because that is such a sacred time where you are really just trying to figure out life and navigate. So this is really for anyone that it's like, you're kind of getting into your groove now, you're figuring it out and you're wanting to get back into things. You have to make the time for what truly matters to you. And of course, there will be different elements and things that get thrown into the mix, but it is important to just remember the things that are important to you. I'm going to probably say that so many times throughout, but it's so important because there's so many women that I have talked to over the years, whether they are a brand new mom or they've had kids for many, many years. It's a common theme that we feel like we have to put our goals and our dreams and things on the back burner for the sake of our children and our families. And while I love my family and they're very important to me, and I am always going to make them a priority, I'm always going to show up for them and do everything that I can to make sure that I have to show up for myself, right? I have to do those things. Like I crave stuff like this to be able to get on and to pour into people and share, inspire as much as I can, just to share my story. Like I love this kind of stuff. So for me, I know that that's a non-negotiable in order just for my happiness, for me to feel fulfilled in life. I want to pursue things that really fill me up. So it's probably, it may come off a little bit tough love, but it really is just that we have to let the excuses go out of the window. I know like a big one for me, like I said, it was the lack of support and not feeling like, oh, I really can't focus on these things because it's just me and my husband. And, there's really no time to do anything. And like, yes, that's literally the case, but somehow I've managed to be able to overcome that and do all of the different things that I do. And it just comes with sacrifice. And so the biggest sacrifice that I can say for any parent, really any parent, is to get up before your kids or stay up after them. If you're a night owl, you're an early riser, whatever the case is, it's a game changer. Okay. And again, I've even been sharing on some of my vlogs recently that I've been struggling with being able to get up early since like the time change and stuff. It's just been very interesting. But getting up before your kids does so many things for you mentally. It just allows you to check in with yourself first, to really hear your own thoughts, to decide the trajectory of how you plan for the day to go. If you have your quiet time with God, if you have just a time to journal, a time to just have peace, it's such a sacred time. And the days when I do get up early, even though, I want to hit that snooze, 20 more times, I never regret the morning time that I have. I never regret getting up early, showing up for myself. I never regret it because it's always something needed. And I find that I am so much better for it, when I have had my time, even if it's just for 30 minutes or a couple of hours. It just depends on how early I get up and when she gets up. I could change this from day to day, but it allows me to show up and be my best self when I've already given myself kind of like a jolt of inspiration, a jolt of checking in with God. Just getting in here, getting a couple things off of my to-do list. Like I love the days when I come in here and I decide like, okay, I want to knock out like a couple of emails I need to send. I want to knock a couple things off of my to-do list. Like it's a busy week. Let me go ahead and get some things off of my list. So then that way, even if the day does go left, like even if something happens and we have a meltdown that day, or if she's sick, or just a lot of just different elements. We have kids, it's very unpredictable. But I already can say like, okay, I already showed up for myself. So even if I don't get a chance to do anything else today, like that is done. And that is really important because I know many of you are trying to build something on the side of possibly already a full-time job, or you are trying to build something as you might be staying home. And so your business right now, it may not necessarily be something where you have to pour 100% of your time into, but giving it that space in some of that pocket of the morning time, or a pocket in the evening time, or if you have a lunch break during work when you can fit that in, that is going to be the game changer. So I encourage you to look on your calendar, make a schedule of what exactly it is that you want to do and when you want to show up for it. I'm a really big believer of theme days. So even if you get up at the same time every morning, but each morning you are focusing on a different aspect of things you want to do, that is great. Like you may have like on Mondays, you decide that you want to dive into like a devotional you've been doing. Maybe on Tuesdays, you really want to, catch up on a book that you're reading. On Wednesday, maybe it's like a wellness day. So you really want to get in like a yoga class on YouTube or something, like, whatever it is, like you can do it in a way to where that allows you to kind of rotate things that are important to you. Because, sometimes that's just what it is. Like we have to pick and choose, but don't ever feel like you have failed because you didn't get your laundry list of to-dos done. So instead, go into the day already knowing like, all right, this is my one thing that I want to get done for the day. And whenever I do that and I have that mindset, I feel so much more accomplished than when I have this long list of tasks and goals that I want to accomplish and I don't get to any of them, or I only get to one of them. And instead of focusing on the thing that I did do, I'm like, oh, but these are all of the things that I didn't get a chance to finish. So that's the first thing I would say, is just really to remove the excuses and start to find the time. I know we all scroll. I scroll. We all like a good binge of something, right? I know I do it, but sometimes that's where we have to find those pockets of time to fit in, especially again with the business endeavors and things that we want to do. All right. So another thing, y'all are so quiet tonight. Definitely like, comment, say hey, say something, please. Please, please, please. Okay. So the next thing that I have written down here is to, and I probably should have really started with this. I actually went to the end of my list because I kind of got fired up a little bit, but I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. And I want to just talk really quickly about mom guilt, because mom guilt is very real. But I really want to invite you to reframing mom guilt and what that means to you, because a lot of times mom guilt will come up because maybe there is a lack in something that we want to do with our kids, where maybe we haven't had an opportunity to do it. And so one thing I really have tried to work on with my daughter, especially I would say within the last, since us moving here, especially like the last year or so, is that I really have tried my best to show up for her in specific parts of the day, or make a goal for the week of something I want to do. So basically what that looks like is she loves to play, y'all. Okay. Like it's just play with me all day long. Okay. She's 5. So that's the stage she's in right now. I'd be like, okay, I got a lot of things I need to get done. And so even just dedicating like 15 or 20 minutes to that dedicated playtime. A lot of times it'll end up being in the morning, a little bit after she gets up, has breakfast, and we'll do like a little bit of some playtime. And it's different every day. Sometimes we're acting out stuff with her little different characters. Sometimes we might be playing a game together. But I always try to do that for her so she does have that time. Now, whether or not she feels like it's enough, okay, that's a whole nother thing, because she still always be like, oh, no one's playing with me. But I have to remember in my mind, I'm like, I know that I'm showing up and I'm doing the best that I can. So my first thing for you, if you are feeling mom guilt, is to really look and just see, okay, what are the pockets within what you are trying to do with your child? I mean, no, I'm sorry. What are the gaps, right, that you could fill of things that you want to do with your child that maybe you haven't made the time for? So maybe it is playing with them. Maybe it's taking them somewhere. Maybe you want to take them out to the park. Maybe you've been wanting to go on walks. Like whatever you might have in the back of your mind that you haven't gotten a chance to get to it, let's get to it. Let's make it a part of your routine. Make it a part of the schedule. Do it once a week. Like I saw this one meme. It was so cute. It was this dad actually, and he has, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 kids. And he basically has like a dedicated walk with each kid that he takes. I don't know if it's like once a week or once a month or something, but it's just a chance for him to check in with his kids. And they were like of all ages. And so they would go and walk with him. And that's where he would really get a chance to like, hear what's been going on with them, what's the struggles they're having, what are they excited about? So just things like that, just checking in with them, trying to just ask more intentional questions and just showing them you care. Like I'm always trying to affirm her in the things that she does. And so I say all this, like I have a checklist in my mind. I know all moms do. We all do. But, just like the checklist that you have in your mind, just make sure that you are showing up for it as much as you can. We're not perfect. Things happen. But I feel like that's where a lot of times where that mom guilt starts, because you already feel like there's maybe some kind of void that you're not filling. Now, after that, okay, these kids are going to be all right, because we have to still do things that matter to us, right? We still have to do what's important to us. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying that. And so what I was saying about reframing it is really look at it more so like, okay, how is what you're trying to work on, the things that you are pouring yourself into, how is that benefiting your family, your child specifically? How is that benefiting the audience and the people that you're showing up for? How is it benefiting you? Are you feeling, is it filling your cup to do these things for yourself? All of these things matter and they're important. And it's not so much about just those little small moments of time, where you're like, okay, well, I got to be on my laptop right now. And I feel bad because, they're right here. Or, I feel bad because they have to watch something right now. I think that it's so easy for us to get caught up in like the things we see online. And it seems like moms are just holding it down and somehow they manage to make all of the time for playing with their kids and making like these crust cut off sandwiches, and then they're making like these extravagant dinners, and then they're still somehow showing up and they're going live and posting every 5 seconds on social media. And so you can feel like you're falling short, but the reality is everybody is having a struggle in some way, shape, or form. Like we know that everything that we see online is not accurate. And I can say, like, if you watch my channel and if you ever get a vibe where you feel like, oh, she just has it all together, she has it figured out, girl, I do not. Okay. And I try my best to show that as much as I can, with, of course, like honoring the privacy of my family and different things. But I try to show that, that I just am trying to juggle and navigate. Sometimes I have to go into mom mode, even though I really want to get something done. There are certain times within my business where I really put a lot more of my attention into that. And that's usually around launches. I don't launch very often, but when I do, it's usually maybe like a week or two where I'm like, okay, y'all, my husband, I'll kind of rely on him to hold it down with certain aspects. And that allows me to just kind of put my brain power towards my launch for it to go well and for me to be able to really put that energy into that. So, as you start to run your business, you will learn those kind of ups and downs of when you really need to hone in, or if there's specific tasks. Like another thing, if there's specific tasks where it's like, I need this to be uninterrupted versus things that I can do even if there's a lot of noise and chaos going around. Like I can edit a video if there's like people jumping off the walls and screaming. Like I can do that. I don't need quiet for that. But if I'm trying to write an email, or if I'm trying to, put together maybe like the description of a product, or I'm trying to plan out like some launch content, I need quiet for that. And so because I know that about myself, I don't have to get frustrated and be like, oh, I don't have time. It's like, no, I just have to make that dedicated block of time when I know that my daughter is asleep or when I know that I'm away from her for a bit. And those are the things you have to voice. You have to speak up. You have to advocate for yourself in order to really find that time for yourself. So I hope some of those things are helpful for you, just in terms of like mom guilt, because it is real, but really look at it in a sense of the benefits that are coming from what you are doing. Like if it's different if you just sitting there and, you ain't said nothing to your kid, it had been all week, and you just over here scrolling on Instagram. Okay, that's totally different, but I know that's not the case for any of us. We're just trying to do the best that we can. And so give yourself that grace and understand that I feel like your kids will look at you and be like, wow, she's really doing something. She's showing me that even despite having a family and all these other things going on, like I can still do the things that I dream about. And I try to keep that in the back of my mind of like, I want to be able to be a role model for my daughter too, to show her, like it's okay to step away and do things for you, as long as you come back, but it always fills me up. And so I just look at it in that way. And I'm not going to say that mom guilt for me is just completely out of the picture, but it really has lessened quite a bit just from me making that mindset shift that I've shared with you all. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is really just ways of how you can pour into yourself, show up for yourself in different things, just to kind of do this the second half of this. And hi, soft and beautiful. Thank you so much for commenting. Everybody is so quiet tonight. Usually the chat is a little bit more exciting. So hopefully you guys are getting something from the topic today. But yeah, so first off, you really want to decide to show up for yourself every day. And I kind of talked about this, even if it is one small thing. So don't get it out of your head that you need to accomplish 3 things, 10 things, and all that stuff. And especially for like my brand new moms, or, like, and even if you're not brand new, you might be on like your 3rd child, but it's still brand new because now you are trying to figure out life with 3 children or 4 children. As it continues to grow, like there still needs to be that grace given to yourself in transitional periods. But find ways to show up for yourself, even if it has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. Just find ways to show up for yourself. One of the things for me recently that I did was I got into running, and I've shared a lot about it on my channel. But when I decided that I wanted to start running, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I really did not see how I was going to be able to fit it in, with already like running my membership, having the product side of my business. I'm homeschooling my daughter. I'm trying to be a good wife. I'm trying to show up for my family and help with all of the different small details and things that they need help with. I'm trying to, show up for myself and all of these different things. And I'm like, okay, now I want to add in this new thing. I have no idea. I don't know anything about going to the gym. I didn't know anything about running. And I'm like, now I'm about to add this in and I'm going to be doing it 5 times a week. Like, girl, where did you do that at? Like, literally, that was how I was thinking. And so I sat down and I looked at my schedule. I got real with myself and I was like, you know what? Even though it might be inconvenient, this is how I'm going to make this work. So even though I usually like to have the afternoon, like after we get done with our homeschool and stuff, we usually have just kind of like some chill time. And usually that would be the time where I would like prop my feet up, or I might read my book, or I might get some work done, just depending on the day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate an hour of that time to go to the gym. They have a daycare. It works out really great. They watch kids of all ages in there. And I'm like, this is perfect. And so now it's almost second nature to me. I've been doing it for a couple of months since February. And now it's just like I've always done it. It doesn't even feel weird when I'm like, okay, it's time to go to the gym today. Like it's just a part of the thing. And so a part of my day. So that is what can happen for you as well. Like right now, you may be feeling like, okay, I have no idea how I'm going to fit this thing in. I don't have the time. But when you really get honest with yourself and you look at what you do on a day-to-day basis, I promise you 9 times out of 10, unless there is something like traumatic going on, or, like some kind of life-changing event going on to where it's literally like, okay, no, I seriously don't have the mental space or the time, which is completely different. But more often than not, we have the time to do the things that we truly, truly, truly desire. And so, I was able to do that. I was able to show up for myself 5 times a week. And I did it since February. And I was able to run my 5K race, y'all. Like I was so excited and proud of myself because I remember sitting there the day when I decided to commit to doing this plan. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to make this happen with everything that I'm already trying to do. But somehow I managed. And I know you can manage as well. Another thing I have on here is to really, well, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but just really to not compare, um, and really even comparing yourself to others, of course, but even so much to yourself in terms of who you were before kids. I think that it can be very toxic, honestly, for us to try. And this is in a lot of different things, but since we're talking about motherhood, it's like to compare who we were pre kids. It's unfair to who you are now. And I mean that in all aspects: how you looked before you had kids, how you felt, the time that you had, your drive before you had kids. Like, you are a totally different person. Like, it is literally scientifically proven. I've read articles about it that we change after we have kids. You are not technically the same, right? And so you have to honor that and know that, okay, I'm not the same woman I was before I had children. That is okay. I'm going to love this version of myself. I'm going to get to know her, and I'm going to understand what this new version of me looks like in terms of me trying to navigate through these things that I want to do. And so for a really long time, for myself, I was always really quick to compare to my old self, of like all of the things that I used to be able to do and I had the energy to do and the interests to do, and how I've changed, and how, a lot of times I'm more focused on a lot of things that have to do with my daughter. And then I'm like, oh, but you're forgetting about what, and it's like, no, I have different priorities now. I'm a different person, and that is okay. And I'm telling you that it is okay, to be different, to feel different, to look different. I know that's a big one with moms, is how we can just look different. I mean, you literally carried a child and you birthed the child. So it would be weird, if you didn't look different and feel different. But it's all things where I think people talk about, like that bounce back and getting back to you. And I think sometimes it's pushed so much to the point where you feel like you have to get back to this version that sometimes may be unattainable, or it just may not be realistic, only because you are such a different person now. And so, yeah, don't compare to your past self, your pre-child self, your early in motherhood self, whatever the case is. Like, really love the woman you see today in the mirror, and understand that you can still do the things that you desire, but it just may look different. It may feel different. And then, really, the last things I wanted to talk about is, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Okay, sorry, I had to look really quick. So, yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about is really just prayer and faith. I think at the end of the day, motherhood is very hard, and it's really easy to just kind of like go inward sometimes with motherhood. It can be very lonely, very, very, very lonely. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like on an island and it's just me, and I'm just like, just trying to figure things out. But when those times happen, I really try my best to look at, like, okay, what have I not been doing? And a lot of times I haven't been in my word. I haven't been praying. I haven't been connecting with God. I haven't been connecting with community. And those things are so important for moms. It can feel very lonely, when you're trying to figure out all these things, figure out your child, and um, just how to navigate. You can feel like, oh, no one's going to understand. But I promise you that there's someone that understands. And just praying about the situation. There are so many instances where I'm literally like, God, I have no idea how to navigate this attitude that this girl got right now, but I'm going to give it to you. I have no idea how to deal with this, or, just even like fears and different things that I think about for the future. I really just try to pray about them and understand that these are all normal things, as a mom, but I can't carry that weight of everything. And so I really, really try my best to pray about that. And because I really do try to have a relationship with God in a lot of different areas of life. But sometimes motherhood, like, you just be kind of going through the day to day, and you just be kind of dealing with it. I'm like, you know what? I have not prayed about this. Or, I haven't really connected with God on this specific thing when it comes to my motherhood journey. So I think that's just important. And also just getting in community with other believers that are moms as well. That has really been helpful for me a lot. I'm grateful that I have quite a few friends that are moms, even to multiple children, and that also are believers and that are able to just kind of share from a different perspective of like, okay, okay, yes, these kids, they're crazy, but you know, have you prayed about it? I'm going to pray for you and different things like that. So I think having the community is definitely a game changer for you in terms of just having support as you go through the years of raising children. And I think at each stage, it's different. Like I feel like me when I was a mom of a new baby and a toddler is totally different than now me being the mom of like basically she's a kid, like she's 5, she's no longer a toddler anymore. And we're kind of like moving into now like full blown kid and just trying to figure out these new stages and these emotions and these attitudes and all of these different things. But I always feel better when I'm able to just talk to community about it and just share. And then you start to see like, okay, I'm not alone in these feelings. Like there are other moms that are struggling with this area, or there are other moms that are also praying about this exact thing, and that is okay. Even like in our community, the Inspired Blueprint community, there are so many moms in there. We have moms that are brand new moms, they have toddlers, some of them have teenagers, some of them have kids out of the house. And I can say that at some point, we all are on the same page when it comes to certain just motherhood, just woes, because it's just, that's how it is. And so never feel like you are alone in your motherhood journey. I encourage you to find community, to find the Facebook groups, to find community within your church. A lot of times, a lot of different churches I've attended, they'll have groups specifically for moms. I think it's important to tap into those resources because it's important because it can be so easy to feel in your head and feel alone and feel negative. And I don't want that for you in any aspect. As well as, of course, the Inspire Blueprint membership. I'm always going to share about that. And that's even better too, because if you are trying to start or grow a business, we focus on that in the membership, but it's also a sisterhood in so many ways as well. So we get to share those personal aspects of what's going on, coupled with trying to figure out, okay, now how am I going to run this business with all this going on, so it's like very much real life. So always the link is in the description for the membership, but I only share that because as I have gotten to know the ladies over the last year of running the membership, I have just gotten to see how even though they have a lot going on with their families, even though they have multiple, like I only have one child, they have multiple children and they are still showing up for themselves. They are still on the calls, they are still doing the thing. They're figuring out the tech issues. They're figuring out the stuff that even like a year ago they were fearful of or didn't even know if they could make the time for it. And it's beautiful to witness. Like it literally sometimes I tear up, we're on the calls and people are sharing the different things that they're doing. And I'm just like, it is so hard to truly show up for yourself, to decide that even though I have all of these things going on, and I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I have a full-time job and I'm trying to, juggle all these things, but somehow you are still making strides towards what really matters to you in terms of what you're trying to grow. Like that is such a huge thing. And so I say this to you, like, as you're watching this, it's like, give yourself that credit. If you got an email out this week, if you did some research, if you made a call to get some information about something, if you did your first market, if you sold your first product, if you posted this week, like you're showing up for yourself. And that is a lot more than a lot of people can say, because some people will just continue to just sit there and be like, oh, maybe one day, when I get some time. But it's underrated, really, just how much moms, we're talking about moms, how much moms really do. But then the fact that you take it to another level and you still have the mental capacity to show up for all of these other things that are not necessarily required, right? Like we don't have to be entrepreneurs. We don't have to do these businesses. Like we don't have to do any of this stuff. It's really a bonus, at least for me. I always think about that. I'm like, I don't really have to do this, but I would feel so empty if I didn't. I would feel like something was missing. And so that's how I know that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. But it takes a sacrifice. Like even right before I got on this call, I was actually getting set up for the call later than I wanted to because I'm downstairs making grilled cheese. a grilled cheese sandwich for my daughter for dinner. But I'm like, you know what? This is what it is. It's like 1 minute I'm making grilled cheese sandwiches, and the next minute I'm up here and I'm going live and I'm trying to do the best that I can to show up. And so that is what I wanted to talk about today. It's just motherhood and entrepreneurship. And I'm always trying to figure out how to balance that. I'm always figuring out, in different seasons, like what works. And it's ever changing. I see Dereka got on. She said, yes, it's always changing. I love the membership because there are so many different moms in different stages. Exactly. Yes. And that's what I love about it as well. Like I love getting to hear from the moms that have like older kids, because I know that that's in my future, and I'm like, what is that like to have kids that are older, and so to like hear their stories and different things, I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But again, it's just cool to see people showing up for themselves despite all of the different transitions and things that have come with it. Said it motivated me in empty nest stage. I have to motivate myself. Definitely, definitely. And that is another part of it, right? Like even after your kids are grown and they're out of the house, that is a whole nother stage to navigate, because now it's like, for so long you might feel like, oh, I'm living for my kids, I'm doing things for my kids. And then when they're kind of out on their own and you've done your job, it's like, okay, now what? And that's a whole nother stage to navigate. So no matter what type of mom you are, like I said at the beginning of this, if you are a brand new mom, if you're wanting to be a mom in the future, if you're an expecting mom, if you've been a mom for several years or you got grown kids, I hope that you got something out of today's live. I really just wanted to get on here and talk about it. Mother's Day is this weekend, and I love being a mom. I really, really do. It's such a special thing. I'm so grateful that God has allowed me to be able to raise this little girl, even though there are many moments where I'm like, what is going on? Or I'm like, woo, okay, like what am I supposed to do? How do I handle this? She definitely keeps me on my toes. I will say that, but I love being a mom. And I love working with moms. I really do. Because like I said at the beginning, like they just have a special place in my heart, because I know how much of a challenge it is to take that extra energy and that extra step to pour into yourself and do things for yourself when you already have so much going on with like your little humans and different things. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything from my notes, but I believe that was it. I appreciate you all for getting on with me. I did want to share too. I've shared a little bit about this before, but this is mainly for the people that are on live, because this will be, well, it won't be irrelevant, but past this week, it will be irrelevant. So I am a part of this thing called Beloved Week, and I was asked to be one of the speakers for it. And so it's a free thing. It's going on all week for faith-based women. You can check it out. The links are also in the description as well of this video. But you can join every day. There's a different theme that's taking place, and it is ran by this amazing woman, Christina. And she has a business where she truly just wants to empower women through the word of God, to really just, again, kind of similar to this, like really getting out of their way to go for things that they want, and really like backing it up with God. And I love it. And I was so grateful when she asked me to do it. So my talk actually went live today, which I was very, very excited about. And I'm in the theme of purpose, which is today's topic. But I'm actually going to be going live with Christina this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So just in about a half hour. So that's why I'm going to get off of here so I can kind of woosah before that. But yeah, I'm going to be going live with her, but it is only for if you get the exclusive, or not the exclusive, the all access ticket. So there's 2 tickets. The first one is just literally, it's the free ticket, which gets you access to all of the calls, including mine and so many other amazing women, different topics. Yesterday was about faith. Today's about purpose. And then there's going to be 3 other topics as the week goes on. Plus you get like, she has like morning devotionals and prayer. Like y'all, it's really, really good. So sign up for free. You're not too late if you want to join in on it to get the rest of the week content. But then the all access pass, it gives you not only that, but you get access to the videos long term. She has a membership that you can join as well. I think it's like you get a free, I'm gonna say it's a free month. Plus there's some other exclusive things, but one of the exclusive things is these lives that she's doing after called The Overflow. And that is what I'm doing tonight with her at 8. So I wanted to put those links down below, because if you want to join, then you can. And then maybe you can catch me on the live over there because it will be like a private link. Because at first I was like going to share it. And I was like, oh, wait, this is part of the all access tickets. So I wanted to share that information with you, especially if you want to hear more just about purpose. If that's kind of something you're trying to figure out right now, I think it'll be a good conversation for you to join in on. But even if you don't do the all access ticket, I highly suggest you signing up for the free because there are so many good, I don't even trainings and motivational speeches, like, I mean, literally sermons. Like, there's a lot of really good videos to watch. And they were like pre-recorded. So definitely check it out. And I think that was pretty much it. Did anyone have any questions or anything? I'm just going to stay on for maybe another minute or two before I go. This was a good talk. Y'all were very, very quiet tonight, but I do hope that you took away something from this, got some bit of encouragement. Hi from France. Oh my goodness. Hello. 1:30 a.m. Geez, well, I appreciate you being on at 1:30, girl. I will be turning over to bed right now. So I appreciate you for being on. And I really, really hope that you enjoy the live today. That's really cool. I love the fact that we can just connect with people all over the world. And I love y'all here on this platform. I really do. It's such a wonderful space. I always just thank God for it because it's just so positive. It really is. And I love what I do. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to wait maybe one more minute because I know there's a lag if anyone has any questions or comments or anything about motherhood, business. But yeah, I think so for Mother's Day this year, I'm going to be pretty much laid back. I don't really have anything super exciting planned. So I'm just going to be kind of chilling this weekend, which is really, really all I could ask for. You know how sometimes it's just like I always laugh, but like I love just quiet. Sometimes my daughter always makes fun of me because she'll be like, oh, you just always wanted to be quiet. And I'm like, yes, because it's always so loud in here all the time. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to maybe some quiet time for Mother's Day. That's definitely what I'm hoping for. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get off. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you as always, and I will see you next time. Bye.